Hey you, so in this video I wanted to put a question out there, and that was, would you comply with metals confiscation? So I wanted individuals to go ahead and answer in the comments whether they would comply with some form of precious metals confiscation or recall. So that is if the government, so now we know this has happened in the past. I'm still very sketchy as to what exactly the laws were at the time, but if the government were to call in individual private collectors to come and hand their precious metals in, and they would pay them a certain price, whether it be spot or a certain percentage above spot, or give them some type of a government bond, and if that came with a, if you don't comply, you can face jail time, would you, the stacker watching this video, comply with that ruling or law? So I just want to give my points on what I would do and what I can see them doing if a situation like that was to ever come about again. So as I've mentioned in the past, we have heard of, there was a call to individuals to hand their metals in. A lot of people say it was an outright confiscation. You was told you had to hand your metals in or else. Some say you was requested to and you had an option and they'd pay at a certain price. They went on to buy at a certain spot price, whack spot price up, and went on to really gain in the long run. Now some individuals never complied and they gained awesomely when they smacked spot price up, and those that did got some type of bonds. Now also out there is sketchy as to whether it was just gold at the time or silver, gold and silver, or if you had collector coins. I understand it was different rules for different locations. Certain collector coins were exempt, whereas bullion coins, that could technically be what I'm holding now, was also on the recall list. So I'll just break into my position on that, and if anything like that was to ever happen. Me personally, just on the whole precious metal repossession or calling back into the government coffers, I wouldn't comply, and my reasons as to why I wouldn't comply is, as I've mentioned before, with my main foundation stack, it's a lot of capital gains tax free coins. Now a lot of individuals have clung on to that, and it is something to hold on to when buying in times like now, but I'm of the mindset where I think, should things get a lot better for precious metals, the time of filming this video, releasing it, precious metals are taking a nosedive, so it's looking great. So times like this, when we're all wishy-washy whether you're of the mindset you're going to go in and jump in and buy more, whenever we're stagnating as we've been for the past couple of months or taking dips, we have nothing to worry about. I mean, these coins are sold to you under the status of CGT free, but I've heard before, and I also believe that should we see precious metal prices, gold and silver, I don't know, say gold at 5,000 spot price and silver at, and we're talking dollars here, and silver at 200 spot price and upwards, straight away off the bat, when you're picking up these metals at the current prices, looking at those gains, what would the government's course of action do then, and what would the rest of the economy look like? Will things be tanking while precious metals are rising? That's normally the case. You're not going to find a great economy on paper and then a very strong precious metal spot price. So I believe, should that time come, I don't believe, as some have said, where you're going to get police drop kicking doors with batons and armies and martial law, and they're coming in and they're turning you upside down for your metals. That's not just for me, it's just, that's fairyland, like with the shit hit the fan scenario where we've got Mad Max scenarios. I do think personally the only way they can get this off, where you'll have some individuals going along, complying and cooperating, is that they would have to do it the way that they've fleeced the people throughout time, and that's going to be taxing people. I believe these type of coins here, these Britannias and the likes of, will get stripped of their capital gains tax status, and then they'll go ahead and slap a very large capital gains tax on these type of coins once you pass that threshold and you get into profit time. Now this for me is one of the main reasons why I also went on to stack no coins in my foundation larger than 2 ounce, just in case, just planning for an event that may or may not happen. It's going to make me feel a lot better because I'm buying this stuff under the premise that it's capital gains tax free. I've invested in it under that premise. If that should change, or they should pull the capital gains tax rug from underneath us, I'm going to be miffed off, because if they need help, now I could advise them as to what they need to do before the crash comes. But I know their mindset, and that is once something goes wrong, they'd have no problem convincing the have-nots that those that have or did have and done the right actions at the time are the cause of the problem. So getting the people on board to chant and maybe come out with their pitchforks for individuals that were stacking silver and doing the right thing, protecting themselves, they'll then be told or demonized as to getting the people think that they're part of the problem as to why this is happening and you wasn't paying into the economy and the likes of. So I could see everybody turning on individuals that did do the right thing at the time, where in reality it's all the government and those in power's fault. So I personally would not comply. If it was some form of a bring your metals in and we'll give you some type of a government bond or we'll pay you X, Y, and Z, I'm definitely not going to comply. I'm stacking for that event. Come that event, if they then turn around and say, well, hey, listen, we're going to need what you've got there, and the stats get stripped, I'd rot in a jail cell and have this stuff buried and drip fed to my family and loved ones before I comply with that. Now, regarding the tax status, that's something out of your hands. Realistically and ideally, you'd want everybody to band together and say, no, we shall not. But people are more accustomed to paying taxes. So I can see that being the most logical way for them to really go about and fleece the people. But it's how much, because you can get a situation where, I don't know, give or take, they could put up to a 50% tax on profits, even 65%. So that way there, I know individuals have said there are easier ways for them to get the metals off people if they also go direct to the mints. And I could also see something like that playing out, because in today's world, it's going to be a lot harder than it was back in the old days. So the tax is the most logical approach for them, but it's something that I would have to wrestle within myself with if I was to go on and pay, or it would just literally be taking out what I need and small, and this is why I will want to have a kilo bar or a good couple of ounces of anything. If I could see a situation like that coming, I would offload a lot of gold as well also that I have and put it into something else more solid. So it's one of the main things I'm looking out for. But all in all, I personally would not comply with any type of request that came with a, or you can do jail time for not complying. That's just not going to happen, no chance. When it comes to the form of taxation, I mean, these are capital gains tax-free coins, the Britannias and the Queen's Beast coins. So seeing that status stripped away, it's definitely something 100% I could see them doing. If metals, if tomorrow, I don't know, give or take, this coin right now, time of filming this, pound sterling is somewhere around £30, and if tomorrow this coin, pound sterling, I could be looking upwards of £250, I could see them definitely saying, well, you know, we're going to be getting fat while they starve. There's no chance. They're going to want their hands in these pies. So for me personally, I would not comply with any type of recall to personally, willingly hand my metals back in when it comes to something towards paying some form of a tax. If I didn't find it reasonable within my own morals, then also with that, I would just go about finding ways to just release funds and stay under the threshold each time. And now I'd gladly say that, because right now I've got products that I've purchased under capital gains tax free, and that was in my long-term game plan. So I have no plans of this stuff going up or even at a price where I now need to go on and pay capital gains tax. So I've done the right thing. So at the last minute, if they decide to switch the morals within myself, I'm not going to go ahead and do the tango with them. So that's just my standpoint on that. But once again, I'd love to hear everybody's standpoint on whether you would comply in any type of way. If they was offering a bond or paying you at spot plus 5% current spot, we all know that they've done that in the past to only go on and increase spot and leave you stuck in the mud, while individuals that didn't comply really had a field day. So would you comply on those grounds, or would you say no all the way, go absolute rogue underground and just not comply any way, shape or form whatsoever? I mean, they're going to have a current system that's going to be basically dogs up, every man for himself. And that is my mindset, because I think it's me against them at the moment, because they're not doing nothing to fix this problem. They're only creating the problem. So come time for them to look for solutions, I don't see how me protecting myself should go ahead fixing their problems. So once again, it'll be fantastic to hear what everybody else's opinion on that, whether you would comply or whether it be bye-bye on them. So go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.